Carissa Pavlika, TV Fanatic. Hello to you both.
Hi, Carissa.
Hi. So, Chris, the Mutiny Hotel has been represented in so many things, from Scarface to recently Griselda. What inspired you to write the Hotel Cocaine and why?
Well, I was aware of it. Well, an actor on Narcos that Guillermo and I worked on together told me that his father was Roman Compte, the general manager of the Mutiny Hotel.
Oh, wow.
I had never heard of it at the time, nor had I known about the connections to Scarface, which they call the Babylon Club. They fictionalized the
Hmm.
name in
Hmm.
Scarface, and obviously Griselda wasn't made yet. That show was made by my partners on Narcos, Eric Newman and company. In any case, I thought Maurice's father's story was interesting. In order to make it a proper television drama, I fictionalized the idea that he had a brother who was a major trafficker, but the Roman dealt with major traffickers in the club all the time, and also fictionalized the idea that the DEA was strong arming him into going after his brother. Other than that, all of it's authentic. The club owner was nutty, like Mark Feuerstein plays him. The mutiny girls were real. And we did our best to try to evoke the 70s in our film work. And so yes, it came out independent of thinking about the Colombian drug lords who it came independent of its predecessors. So I find that kind of amusing. And also, we took a very different take on it, a fictionalized take. We're not trying to tell the Griselda story here. We wanted it to be fun, sexy, entertaining, and yet also with some nutritional value, which is a story of chasing the American dream, the Cuban American immigrant experience here, and of course a time when cocaine was viewed as a relatively harmless drug. And it really was. So inside the club, you see the pleasure of it, and outside the club, you see the violence that it took to get it there, which would become very, very apparent to people by the mid 80s, how dangerous a drug it was and how much blood was being spilled to get it to our shores.
Yeah, it's still a relevant story. Different drugs, same story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, indeed.
And Guillermo, there's a kind of a small group of people who are trying to keep Latinos in the cultural eye. I read yesterday that there's like a significant drop in representation on TV going into this year. And I'm wondering how important it is for you to continue telling these stories and making sure that this group, which is on the rise within our country, is actually getting its fair share and its due of good storytelling.
Well, that's been the story since I moved to the U.S. So I've been through a lot. I faced a lot of discrimination in the beginning. So I've been through all of it, and I started working and having a strong presence, and then a bigger migration of filmmakers came about, and we became before it was like something that out of the blue that it was a Mexican filmmaker around to the point where actually, if you're a Mexican filmmaker, then you have a good reputation now.
Mhm.
So it turned completely backwards. No, I was once with an agent that told me that they couldn't go to the studio and say that the position of filmmakers come from Mexico will never fly. And then I said, really? I said, yeah, because we already have a gardener in the office. So the position of the Mexican was taken. So all that to where we are now. I mean, in the lapse of I don't know, 10 years, 12 years,
Wow.
we have made our space and had very clear that not only we have stories to tell, but we know how to tell them. So
Right.
we're there's a background of narrative that made it into the process.
Well, you're also saying correctly that the Latin population is deeply underserved by the programming that's created in
Very.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
And so, and also we're sensitive to the fact that, only the tiniest fractional percent of Latins are involved in the drug trade. And yet crime shows are interesting. And we're trying to use that facade as a vehicle to talk about, frankly, things that are a little more important to us, which have to do with, you know, the immigrant experience here, wrapped in the package of sun and fun and disco and great Latin music and sexy people, et cetera, et cetera.
And that's, my time is up, but I want to tell you that's what I appreciate about the show, is that it's the family aspect and the friendship, and even I can't remember Ramon's brother's name right now. Yule's character,
Nestor,
yeah,
yeah.
Nestor, you know, even he isn't portrayed as your typical
No.
drug dealer. You know, he's a family man, and he has a purpose behind it, nefarious as it is.
Yes, and Yule is amazing, just as Danny is.
Yes,
His
yes, very much.
acting is great.